Today's geology lesson is all about the natural forces that break and change our planet. We live on a planet where natural forces are constantly creating changes on the surface of the Earth. These natural forces can break down mountains, rocks, and change the landscape around us. But what are these natural forces? Let's start with a natural force that can break down mountains. This is the process of weathering. Weathering is the breaking down of rock by mechanical and chemical forces such as water, oxidation, and growing plants. Now this is really important to us because weathered or broken down rock mixes with decomposing organisms to form soil. That soil allows plants to grow, and those plants provide us with food and clothing. There are two kinds of weathering: mechanical weathering and chemical weathering. Mechanical weathering is the process of breaking down rocks without changing their chemical composition. This can occur through frost wedging, where water freezes in the cracks of a rock, which then causes expansion and degrading over time. Root action is when a tree puts down roots through the rocks in its search for moisture. As the tree grows bigger, the roots will gradually pry open the rock. There's not much that gets between a tree and its hunt for water. Abrasion is when sand and other rock particles are carried by wind and water over surfaces. They grind away the rock like sandpaper on wood. The other type of weathering is chemical weathering. Chemical weathering is any process that breaks down rock by changing it chemically. This can occur through oxidation, when oxygen combines with another substance and creates compounds called oxides. The best example of this is rust, which is actually iron oxide. In nature, the presence of lichens is another form of chemical weathering. Lichens grow on rocks and produce a mild acid that slowly deteriorates the rock by the consumption of its minerals. In heavily industrialized areas, we even see it in the form of acid rain. Acid rain is created when pollutants from sources such as power plants and vehicle exhaust combine with rain to raise the overall acidity of the water. Next, we have another powerful natural force that is moving and changing our planet: erosion. Erosion is the transport of rock by forces such as wind and water. Wind will change the landscape by physically moving material and depositing it elsewhere. We also talked about abrasion earlier, where rocks can be ground down by sand and other sediment. Water can loosen the soil and allow for it to be carried down with the aid of gravity. It normally forms a V-shaped flow or valley. Another major force contributing to erosion is us. Perhaps the biggest influence that we have is through deforestation and our agriculture activities. Even some of the old wagon roads of years past are still completely void of plants due to the soil being compressed enough to squeeze out all traces of oxygen, a result that often leads to water erosion. So let's review what we have just learned. First, weathering is the breaking down of rock by mechanical and chemical forces such as water, oxidation, and growing plants. There are two kinds of weathering: mechanical weathering and chemical weathering. Mechanical weathering is the process of breaking down rocks without changing their chemical composition. This can include frost wedging, root action, and abrasion. Chemical weathering is any process that breaks down rock by changing it chemically, such as oxidation, lichens, and acid rain. Second, erosion is the transport of rock by forces such as wind and water. We humans also contribute to erosion, mainly through deforestation and agriculture, as trees and plants support and hold the soil in place. Thank you for joining me for this geology lesson on the natural forces that break and change our planet. We are starting to see and experience much greater challenges when it comes to sustaining our planet. Flash floods, landslides, and deforestation are drastically changing the way we live our lives. To ensure our future, we need to prepare solutions that can provide a fair, balanced, and abundant planet for everyone. Be well, my friends, and always remember that you are awesome. Subscribe to my channel to stay updated, and a like is always appreciated. We'll see you next time at Sam's Outdoor Science for Kids.